Pilates. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving as a Pilates instructor. I'm going to make the bulk of my comment in Facebook to come so that I don't get worn out trying to do it two places at once. And I have more of an audience right now in YouTube, or in Facebook. So I have 7 titles today. And the first one is Oasis Pilates, because I'm tagged in a workshop that's happening in the desert, and that just gets my imagination roaring and imagining being at an oasis and early in the morning, somewhere where there's a guard or where it's safe, but to do the mat work at the oasis, just like normal, and have others traveling from different places, going different places, showing up and recognizing the pattern, the mat, and joining in the pattern. And having it be that the languages and nationalities represented were from all over, so the only thing in common that they all shared was an ability to participate in the performance of the mat. So, again, I'm sorry for my language. There's only one. I hope I use it well enough that you can make something of it. Number 2, because number 1 was Oasis Pilates, and oh man, thrilling to be tagged in that. Number 2, if you want to stand close to Joe, stand on the physics. Because at first I said, if you want to stay close to Joe, and so there's a subtlety there too. If you want to stay close to Joe, understand the physics. And in doing that, you stand right next to Joe, and the physics that his work expresses or reflects. Are you okay with that? So I'm not sure the order here. My gift is 3 and 4 is conventional. Maybe let's go 4 first in conventional. Because in my mind I have an ongoing dialogue with my view of Pilates and how I try to explain it and what it means to me, and no different than the dialogue you probably have. And in seeking to help you understand CT and MMP, I would say to you, understand the word conventional first. And conventional, as Google defines it, is based on or in accordance with what is generally done or believed. Conventional, based on what is generally done or believed. Right? And so in that regard, MMP is not conventional Pilates, because it's not what's generally done or believed. Now, in some ways it's what's generally done, depending upon how classical you get, but it's all done, hopefully, in an expression of the ideal that exists within. And so being able to say, look, MMP is not conventional. And that means what's generally done or believed, right? And Nobody even knows about CT, relatively speaking, in numbers, right? So it's not even a matter of belief or done. It's a matter of introduction to the conceptualization of oppositional rotation between axes and how to feed off of that, meaning how to observe that what you sense out of that engagement, to sense your alignment and to distribute your load. So CT is just MMP and unknown. And if it's known, then say that my circle of influence in my lifetime, it's known, but it's not generally done among that circle, I don't think. And it certainly isn't what's believed, because it's tough to nail down belief about Pilates other than a personal experience, because it works so much better that way in allowing you to interpret it however you wish, to teach it however you wish. The problem with that is that, from my point of view, Pilates has an essence of its own, and that essence of its own either reinforces or shades what you're doing. Because from my point of view, nothing would ever shade the ideal within Joe's original work, no matter who you are or what becomes of the world or its point of view of the world. Talking about understanding, well, Joe stands alone in the choreography of this conditioning method that not only gives you the right pattern and the right order, the right progression, thematic and all of that, to where when you understand what's going on thematically within the original work, I believe you get to seeing the ideal within Pilates as uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. And that becomes a tool of a perspective that influences, if you allow it, what you instruct as an instructor. And see, as a teacher to a student, I don't know up front necessarily how much they want to understand about what's going on. And if I give a little and they seem to appreciate it, they'll probably get more. But if they aren't interested because they don't care and they don't want to know, and it gets in the way, understand that as an instructor. And see, that's really important to be able to do that as an instructor, to not explain anything and just be the pure instructor and just say, do this, do this. And that's where my quote comes from. Just do what I tell you and don't worry about it. Is one way of exchanging interaction as an instructor to a student. And it's a good way, and it works. So the better you are as an instructor, the more all explanation comes out in the experience that comes out of the instruction. Maybe that's whimsical and idealistic, but number 6, Number 6, I identified it. And this all came from me wanting to help you understand what core new tension is. And you can explain that. I explain it to you that I identified it. A student of mine helped me see that more clearly decades after she said I'd already identified it for her. Right? But it's true. I identified core new tension a long time ago. I named it because I identified it. And then I defined it in trying to describe what it is I'm pointing to. And so I named it as core new tension, right, CT. And I define CT as oppositional rotation between axes, right? So the I stops here, I think. I identified it, I named it, I defined it. What you want to do with it, or if anything, is up to you. And of course, that's why this broadcast exists, to empower you to survive as a Pilates instructor. And one of the better understandings about physics and biology that comes from core new tension can go a long way in helping you reach for whatever you want to do in Pilates or, of course, any other body movement. See? So, core new tension is an identification of oppositional rotation between axes. And that's, to me, a singular thing in that it's a point of view, and there's a lot of points of view, but this point of view, I think, captures the way the biology is engaging itself to enhance, to make possible and enhance its movement through space, so it can survive the gravity jungle. What you do with that understanding is up to you. And then number 7, the last one, the best one really, is make it sensational. So after a good session, I usually don't hear students saying, oh, I had epiphanies left and right, and now I understand it so much better. You know, it's all about sensation, and I had so much fun, and felt so challenged and so present. It was just sick Pilates. That goes back to me talking about outrageous experiences connected to Pilates, or adjectives maybe, and odd contra juxtapositions. Make it sensational. So as an instructor, even when you understand it completely clearly, it doesn't cause you to elevate to a new plane of existence and disappear in what you once knew into something else. You're still here, you're still alive. And it's in the being alive that the conditioning is necessary to prepare for the future, which is what doing Pilates is all about, right? Conditioning. And to the extent that you make it sensational and you give yourself a gold star without actually miming it, you're just floating on a cloud no matter how good what you do is from any other point of view. So it's the experience that matters is what I'm making the point about that. And then I looked at the summary, and when I'm talking about Oasis Pilates, that's the pattern, the knowledge, the doing of the mat work as the conditioning and as the link. See, it seems like it might have been a bunch of unexpected visitors to this oasis where survival is definitely in play, more than just the desert, or maybe only the desert, but where there's recognition of the choreography that allows group participation, and as such, a coagulant for focus and preparing for whatever comes up next. After you're done doing the mat, who knows what's going to happen at the oasis. So I wish everyone well that's in that workshop that I'm tagged to. I think that I'm thinking that the clearer I can make what core tension is to you, the more clearly you can make use of that understanding in your pursuit of surviving as a Pilates instructor. Okay? That's not to say that if all you do is teach yoga and all you care about is yoga, that core tension can't have just as significant an impact in how the body engages itself and bears the load from that. More specifically, it lightens the load, right? Make it sensational. And then my closing comment for some reason is, you never miss pain. Think of that, 4 words. You never miss pain. And see, once you're out of pain, you forget about it because you don't want to remember it, right? It's unpleasant. And the great thing for me, and in being engaged in the performance of Pilates, is that routine has given me the conditioning and the focus to meet whatever comes up next. And so often the influx or the influence of so much pain looking to escape it, right, can distract or distort what being a Pilates instructor is about, at least from the MM point of view. Right? And hopefully this buoy that's anchored to the theory of the ideal when something is not conventional, it's not what's generally done or believed. And mostly believed, I think, is what I would point to. Because there you are in the desert. I wanted to mention this and I forgot to. The hips are a grip at the hips. The core is a grip at the hips. You know, not cueing toward the reality and empowering capability of movement, of control, by ignoring the reality, and I don't know, I don't understand why. Maybe it's I don't know why. But you have to be able to establish a rotational grip at the hips, and that is the core, and that is the powerhouse. And fanciful, generalized, stylistic comments or views of Pilates, where there's really nothing that's all that specific about it, are a lot of the views, and that's okay. You know, if you're surfing the wave, the tsunami of passion, and you're enjoying it, that's great. But if the wave gets a little too steep, or you get jostled up with everything around you that's in that wave, or you're just seeking for clarity in your own point of view, that buoy of the ideal is there. And it's Joe's buoy, not mine. I'm just pointing to, there is located the ideal that I see. And if you see it as well, that gives it more credibility as a point of navigation for others. That's all that is, right? That's all that is. Because there is, I don't think, any one Pilates that well, see, conventional is about what's normally believed or done. And so Michael Miller Pilates is not conventional because it believes something that's not in the normal sphere of what's believed within the Pilates culture. And that, I think, you want to understand so that you know it's not out there commonly, and it certainly is not the way things are. Well, see, the done thing, generally done, Michael Miller Pilates is completely classical until you get to including core new tension and going for more uniform engagement in expression. And that unlocks elbows and creates endpoints of tension at demi-point. And so that's definitely not generally done within the Pilates culture, whether it's classical or not. So MMP is not conventional. MMP is ideal. It's an ideal point of view, and it can help anyone else's point of view of Pilates in if they want to look, see? And a lot of the world of Pilates could care less about what exists beyond what they're the vessel of in tradition handing down and passing on. Right? Conventional Pilates sees themselves as passing a torch, where MMP teaches people how to make matches. How to make fire. So the point is the fire that's being handed down, and it's valuable to have fire handed down if you don't have any handy. But it immediately loses some of it. It changes perspective when you understand how to make fire. It changes the way you see it. It changes the way you see yourself in relationship to it and to others that you share what you know with. So share it while you can. Because life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add to and to. Direct your thinking. Geist.